Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
2023, you guys, and I'm winging it. Hi, it's Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Dork Forest. That's the website, The Dork Forest, if you like a determiner. Dorkforest.com also works. JackieCation.com has all of my stand-up information. Like, it has videos, it has pictures, it has links to this podcast and to my other podcast with Lori Kilmartin. It has a merch store that has Dork Forest t-shirts. It has all of my stand-up merch and all of my CDs and DVDs. So, that's what you know about websites. There's an opportunity because we're in the new year here that you can donate to the Dork Forest. I don't have a Patreon. I don't have anything really set up, though I understand you can set up on PayPal a monthly if you wanted to. You could donate and be of to support the show. This is the 17th season, the 17th year I've been putting this stuff out. It's free, but if you have money and would like to throw me some money, boy, howdy. There's a PayPal. There is at my email address, actually, Jackie@JackieCation.com, which you can also email me and tell me how much you're enjoying the show. You can also do Venmo if you'd like, which is just Jackie Cation. No hyphen, all one word. Picture of this person, me, and then I think that's it. I think I have Zelle, but it's too complicated. Other than that, let's do the credits. Patrick Brady still in, fixing the audio all these years later. Give it up to Patrick Brady. That's what a lot of your donations support, by the way, because I like to share the wealth. And then Bill Mose, he does the websites, and Mike Rickberg wrote and sang that song, composed and sang that song with his wife now, Sarah. And at the end, he sings the Mexican hat dance, which is always fun. Anyway, I'm sure there's more to it. There's a Bandcamp that has a bunch. It has like a stand-up storytelling album that was never released. There's also a bunch of live episodes that many of them are free. There were 200 episodes that were not pre-recorded, and I sort of culled through those, and I pulled like 17 of the best ones. There's an album collection of that, 17 hours of Dork Forest. If you run through all of the episodes, go to bandcamp.com, Dork Forest, or Google those words, and you'll find it. Anyway, there's probably more. I can't remember any of it, but you're doing great. Feel free to enjoy the show. Hey, Jackie Cation with my hat. I'm super white. Hi, the lighting. Jackie Cation, Dork Forest. Welcome to the program. Leah Rudnick, how are you? No, Rudick. Rudick. I put the N in. I put the N in.
You got it. Yeah, but you self-corrected.
What am I, Ellis Island? What the hell is this? Why do I have to?
It's so funny. It's Rudick. But we just found out that our name was changed at Ellis Island. We thought it was like Rudikoff. Turns out it was Zadiac, which is such a cool name.
A much cooler name. My name, Cation, was Haginian, I believe.
Whoa.
Which is very different.
It's wildly different.
And I believe my grandfather was running from the Turks so fast, he was like, what about this name? This is a great name. It means son of a priest in Armenian. Yeah, so I don't know.
Wow, yeah.
By the way, I got that story from my dad, so it could all be one fat lie.
It probably is. Yeah.
I wouldn't count on it.
I think that's the truth. That's the Zodiac thing too. I think it probably is a lie. But I like it. I'll take it.
I'll take it. What the heck? So here's the thing about Leah Rudick. That's right. Is that she has a new podcast out, 9 episodes in. You can get it on the Ground Floor Rangers. And what they are is their siblings. It's her and her brother. Leah, what's your brother's name?
Andrew.
Leah
Andrew Rudick.
And Andrew Rudick. They both do stand-up, you guys, with the bit and the talking. And they have a podcast that's called The Rudicks Are Home. Get it? Because you're in your childhood home right now, right?
I am. I'm in my childhood bedroom. It's very.
Is your brother in his childhood bedroom?
He actually is. He's just down the hall.
We should have all of a sudden. It would be hilarious if I zoomed him in. That'd be so ridiculous.
Yeah, he could pop in here. It's yeah, we've been touring a lot around the Midwest, so this is kind of like home base. It makes it easy just to like pop between cities, but it is wild. Just like, okay, back at mom and dad's house. Here we are.
Right. I guess all of those things still exist inside my head.
Yeah.
Allow me to process them. All right. Okay. So, but the Dork Forest, so it's Leah Rudick, Leah_Rudick, LEAH_RUDICK on Instagram. And it's at The Rudicks Are Home everywhere. And then everywhere you listen to a podcast, it's called The Rudicks Are Home. You're geniuses out there. I believe in all of you. So they can find it. Now, your dorkdoms. Let's get into it.
All right.
I told Maria Bamford that you were going to be talking about 90s cowboy music, country music.
Yeah.
And she said that her favorite line in a country song from the 90s, and then she told it to me and I could only remember half of it because I'm a professional. And I don't even know if you'll know this song. So it was sung by a dude, and it was about how there was rice in the microwave.
Rice in the microwave.
And the guy was depressed, but he had rice in the microwave, and so he had things to do. And,
wow. It doesn't ring a bell.
Me neither. And I listened to country music, and the ones in the 90s that got me were the sad ones, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like
the sad ones.
I'd be driving in my, my 89 Mazda hatchback, and all of a sudden it'd come on the radio, and I was like, tears would be streaming.
Yes.
I was like, don't take the girl. Don't do it.
It's so cathartic. I think one of my favorites is Reba McEntire. She thinks his name was John, it's about a woman who has a one-night stand and then dies of AIDS. I mean, it is sad.
That is super sad. Yeah.
There truly is like nothing better than driving down, it just is like so nostalgic because I just grew up listening to it on the radio. So I just know the words to. Right.
They're just, I didn't even know I knew the words.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I'm singing along to Garth Brooks, and I'm like, thunder rolls. It was God. Like, remember when that guy who cheats on his wife and she's worried about him? It reminds me, once my dad came home at like 8 a.m. and my stepmother was super, super mad. I was like, what if he's dead? What if it's sad and he's dead? And she goes, yeah, that would be sad. I don't think that's the reason.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, in that song, it's like, she's so worried. And then he comes home and she smells the perfume of another woman, and then the thunder rolls, and then she's gonna kill him.
So the crazy thing about, would it be worse to have the smell of a perfume, a weird perfume, or freshly had just taken a shower? Ooh. Like you saw that he had just taken, you're like, where did you take a fucking shower?
Yeah, but I guess it's like at least you had the respect to wash off
whatever
the
sex
filthy
is still
scent. The scent of sex
with some other lady. And and then the night, the Georgia, the lights.
Reba, another Reba classic. The night the lights went down in Georgia.
Right. And then she kills the woman in the song, and I wanted her to kill the judge.
I've listened to that song so many times, and I have such a hard time following the plot of it.
Her brother was set up. His girl was cheating on him. Yeah. And then and then one of the guys who was cheating on him ends up dead that night. And then he is convicted of that.
He's convicted because it's like the night before Christmas. It's like the judge is like, my wife has dinner on the table, I gotta go.
Right.
And then
blood on his hands
and kills
his wife. Yeah. Her brother's wife, her sister-in-law.
Right.
But they're never going to find the body.
Never. Yeah. Yeah. I love the murder ones. I love the Chicks, formerly the Dixie Chicks. Earl Had to Die. Classic.
Oh, that is a classic. Yeah, Earl was a piece of work, wasn't he?
He was abusive. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right.
So it's Mary and Wanda. They were the best of friends. And then Mary goes off, Bright New World. Wanda stays home in her hometown, marries Earl. He gets abusive, puts her in intensive care.
Oh, yeah.
And then Wanda flies back and they poison his food.
Right.
And nobody cares. The
Nobody
police come
cares.
and then nobody cares. Nobody misses him.
Right. Because that's the thing about Earl. There's a guy named Earl that I grew up with who used to shoot tin cans in the Rawson Woods in South Milwaukee,
That
Wisconsin.
checks out.
Yeah. And also, I assume he was the guy who was leaving hefty bags of Playboys for my brothers.
Oh my God.
Just remember when you would just go in the woods and there'd be a hefty bag and you'd look at it and there would be dirty magazines in it.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, nothing for me, but all right.
Yeah. All right. A bag of someone else's shame.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need to look at boobs. I have boobs.
Yeah, I can look at my own.
Look at my own. There's one. Oh, look, there's another one. Anyway, I weeded off. So, yeah. Hey, was Coward of the County, was that in the 90s or was that in the 80s? Like,
what's that one?
That was Kenny Rogers, Coward of the County. It was about a guy who was a peacenik. And then finally, some guy in a bar hits a girl and he's like, I'm going to make a fist and pow. Yeah. And essentially it's about Kenny Rogers, coming to grips with the fact that he's actually a pretty peaceful guy.
Yeah.
But there's a line for all of us. And,
yes.
Turns out the Coward of the County found it.
Yeah.
And because there was a guy who would just walk away from all fights.
Yes. Yeah, I do remember that one.
I think it was on the same album as The Gambler.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who were your favorite 90s artists?
Reba.
The Chicks.
The
maybe?
Chicks. Love the Chicks. Love Garth Brooks.
Okay.
Love Vince Gill. The thing is that because I was only listening to it on the radio growing up, and then I kind of stepped away from it for years. And then recently my husband and I got a car and we got Sirius XM, and they have a station called Prime Country, which is all 90s country. And it was just like this, it was like falling in love all over again.
When you told me that you wanted to talk about 90s country, it is not cool, but I have Amazon Music. Because it's part of my Amazon Prime, and it's another, everyone wants $7 a month. Anyway, whatever it is, about Amazon, it's on Amazon Music. And so they have a channel called 90s Country.
Yeah.
And so I was listening to it going, oh my God, I also know this song.
Yeah.
And listen to that song.
I think that I felt so embarrassed by it for so long. That I just kind of tucked it away. And then we got the Prime Country, and I was like, oh, this is not anything to be ashamed of.
Was your husband, did he fall into it as well? Just go, oh yeah,
he has. And he, I think that he was like, he was so impressed that I knew the words to all of the songs. He was just like,
in love with you again.
He fell in love with me again. I mean, they're easy, like now he knows the words because they're easy to learn. Like it's the simplest. They're just like, the concepts are so like simple and basic, and it's not it's nothing complex. It just is about like the human experience, like these simple stories.
Unabashedly romantic.
Yeah.
Unabashedly sweet.
Yeah.
Like the song I just heard in the car was Love, Me. And it was about grandpa and grandma. Yeah. And grandma left a note on the tree going, that one
wrecks me.
Have to do my chores. Don't. And then she dies and he's like, you're going to make it to heaven before me, but I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
And I literally, it chokes me up.
It does.
But you know what? They're fun songs.
They are
literally, and they're very sweet. And and they're not crazy. Like they aren't right-wing tomes, which sometimes they can be now, where you're just like,
totally. Sometimes you hear a Toby Keith song and you're like, nope. No, thank you.
Wait, why are you singing against trans people? What the fuck do you care? That seems
Yeah.
that seems a square peg in a round hole, my brother.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no need to write that song.
Certainly
But
not.
weirdly enough, Garth Brooks, if trans rights would have been a thing in the 90s, he would have written I know a guy. He's transitioned and he's a nice guy. We play pool. I mean, that's what the song would be about.
Yes.
If it were the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like humans connecting to humans and, finding love, dealing with loss, heartbreak.
Right.
Like, you
got another one? What's another great one?
I was trying to think
weirdly enough, I have a million of them. I don't know why.
I know there's so many. What's the one, Katie and Tommy, about like two sparrows in a hurricane? Is that the one? Am I mixing two?
No.
Yeah.
You are mixing two, because Katie and Tommy, I remember about Katie and Tommy.
Where Katie is she's in love with the boy.
She's in love with the boy. And her mom busts in.
And her mom, so she comes home, she's in love with this boy. She's 16 years old and her dad hates it. Yep. She's out one night. They're going to get married. They're in love. She's out one night late. They come home late, try to sneak in. Her dad's waiting there and is furious. Then the mom breaks in and is like, this was you. This
remember
was
when
us.
you were,
when you were 16, you were nothing but a two-bit plowboy or something. I forget what the actual line is.
It was charming. It was charming as all hell. Do you remember the one about sending a postcard from California
and then they
had
die?
A picture of heaven. Yes.
Yes.
The plane crashes.
Oh my God. Yes. And then they get the postcard after he's died. Oh.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they will just devastate you.
Right. And they will kill a character. They don't care. This is not
that character you met at the beginning of the song is dead by the end, and it's
right. 3 minutes later, you just lived through that person's life, and oh my God, she dies in childbirth. Which is
I was thinking of that one where she died. It's like what is it? Yeah, she dies in childbirth, and he's just down on his knees praying. And the section before is they get mugged, and he's like, "Don't take the girl.
Don't take the girl." That's it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, I'd say you've created probably a monster, because my husband Andy is not excited about country music. He was raised too much on it, but his mom lives with us right now, and she loves it. So I'm loath to introduce it into the plot because it will kill him while I'm on the road.
Yes,
and he's already got so much to deal with. Yes, he's got plenty to.
I feel like my husband was super resistant to it also. And, he's got, his taste in music is vast, and he has an impressive, he's got great taste, and,
Andy knows everything. He knows like Bowie and Prince. And then he also knows like weird, like hip hop, and then ska. And I'm like, how do you? And he's like, all I do is watch YouTube videos of music. He even knows the new music that I only hear at gas stations and grocery stores.
Wow. Yeah. That's how my husband David is also. And so introducing this other thing was like, at first he really made fun of it. And then you can't help it because you get sucked into the story.
Right. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason to be. It's like being ashamed of romance novels. I remember when I realized that I shouldn't be ashamed of romance novels, because that guy has been reading all of Louis L'Amour and Jack Reacher over and over again, and Patterson, and reads all of those airport books. I read different airport books. That's all it is.
That's all it is. And it's just because we're women, it's more shame is attached to it.
Yeah, they're just like, well, it's not something I'm into. And you're like, well, turns out it doesn't have anything to do with you.
Yeah, this is mine. This is my fun time.
Exactly. All right, Leah Rudick. Leah Rudick, by the way, that's what I'm talking to. Let's go to do you want to, you have the Prime Country on Sirius. Yep. I recommend 90s Country on Amazon.
Yeah.
You gave me a list as long as your arm about, of dorkdoms. Which one do you want to talk about next? Do you like the idea?
Should we talk about psychics?
I knew that you were going to go there. Do you know how I knew that?
How'd you know?
Yeah. Psychic.
Oh, I walked right into that one. I was like, was it because I put it first on the list?
Yeah, because it was because you put it first on the list. So, okay, so what do you know about psychics?
Okay, so I have been going to psychics since I was a child. It's
bringing a child to psychics.
It's wild. My mom has always, so my mom got really into psychics, I think after she left Catholicism, because she was like, I need something else.
I need some magic. Let me go to psychics.
Exactly. Okay. So like we always had a family. We had a family psychic. Growing up, we would talk to him every month. He was his name was Bill. He was this guy who he was in Ohio. And you know, my mom and her sisters would go and like see him every few months, and really like lived by his word. And like my mom tells me the story, which is that when I was little, when I was like 5, Bill told her that he saw me getting kidnapped. And so for like the year that followed, she just like wouldn't let me out of her sight. And he said this other stuff, which was that it was going to happen in a government building. And he was like, the reason I'm telling you this is because I think it can be stopped. And so she was like, I was a wreck that whole year. I wouldn't let you out of my sight. And then one day she said that we were at a post office, and she said this woman walked in and she just got like such bad vibes. And she was just like staring at me. And my mom was like, that's who it is. That's the person. And she like pulled me out. And then there was also this other thing where like at the time we were living in northeastern Ohio, and Bill had said that it was going to be a person from Kentucky, which is quite far, you know, it's
on the other side. Yeah.
It's on the other side. And so she rushed me out, and there was a car in the post office parking lot that was like from Kentucky. And she was like, that's there it is. That's it.
That's it. All right. It's a lot. I mean, I'm not above liking a crystal or a real cool rock, or my friend Karen Rontowski, she'll read my tarot card. She's not, I'll do it. And and Karen Rontowski is enormously intuitive, right? She just has a really good heart, and it's sort of open. So when she meets people, she reads tarot cards, and she can sort of, but I think, I'm not saying she isn't psychic. I'm just saying that when she reads those cards, for me, it's hard for me to believe in psychics, but I do believe in intuition. And openness, and quite honestly, much like anything, what if I'm wrong? Right? Yeah. It's not really, unless someone is taking advantage of someone's fear, right? Like after World War I, there was like a big rise in seances and people saying they could talk to the dead because so many people died. So like the lost generation, so many parents were like, you can have my life savings if I could just talk to my son one more time. And those guys are dirtbags and con artists and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But I have been to the Psychic Eye here in Los Angeles to give $20 to I've done it, I think 2 or 3 times. And one time we recorded it, and it was on a cassette tape. So it was back in the late 90s, you guys. And I played that tape so many times it broke. And
the recording of the session.
The recording of the session. You get a recording of the session.
Yeah. I have tons of tapes in my drawers.
Right. And I wish I still had it, because it was probably 1999. 98. And I was like, I never know what to ask a psychic. So that's going to be my next question for you. But I will say this. So I asked her if I would ever kind of have a boyfriend, right? A partner. And because I was just, I just spent, 20 years getting laid. And she was like, she turns the card over and she goes, yes, but I have to tell you, this is not a fast card.
Oh God, that's not what you want to hear.
Well, I was like, that's okay. I mean, the fact that there's hope. And she's like, well, I am mostly about hope, but yes, this card is actually it says, and if it was 99, I met Andy in 2003. So that is a slow roll.
Okay.
But what do you usually, like when you go now, what do you usually ask a psychic?
Well, I think that I actually haven't been in a minute because I feel like I don't need to go right now because I'm feeling really good.
Right.
Like I feel like I went when I wanted somebody to tell me like this thing that you really want to happen is going to happen. I mean, it really is like, I feel like it is, it's like comfort in a world that is actually so out of our control.
Right.
And I think that we're feeling that more than ever in this like post-pandemic world. Like,
oh, sure.
I think that there is like some comfort to just going to someone and being like, is my career gonna work out? And having them be like, yes, yes, this will happen in this time frame. And that's always what it was. Like, I remember when I went in high school and like, all I wanted was a boyfriend and the bit, I think it was Bill was still the family psychic at the time, was like, you're going to meet a boy and he's going to have flaming red hair. And then that was my first boyfriend. And it's like, was he psychic or was it like a self-fulfilling prophecy where I got in my head, like, okay, my first boyfriend's going to have, was it the secret or yeah.
And then some redheaded dude was like, I am psyched at Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Well played, Bill. Let me send Bill $20.
And exactly.
Right. So, well, it is interesting because you feel pretty like sort of serene or like in your, like, okay in your own self, that you don't have to go outside and wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will say a lot of times there's, because I've asked about, I think I've asked about career stuff and everyone's like, yeah, but I think every psychic or tarot card reader I've ever been to has been like, yes, but you have to understand how success is defined. Right. And some people might go, oh, they're hedging their bets. And you're like, yes, they are hedging. And we should all know in our hearts that success is defined differently. Yes. And if I've paid someone $25 to tell me that I need to understand that success isn't a Scrooge McDuck pile of money, that instead it's satisfaction of a job well done, getting to do what I love, being respected by my peers.
Yeah.
All of those things are also markers for success.
Yeah.
The fact that, it's not whatever I could have imagined, right? Like there could have been something I could have imagined that would have been weird and huge.
Yeah.
And though I also was never very good at imagining, like, what was I going to be? Katharine Hepburn? That's weird. I never wanted that. So, so to hear a psychic say, well, yes, you will be successful if you keep doing, because also if you keep doing something, you will get better at it.
Yeah. If you don't quit, guess what? You'll get better and probably there will be results. In some way. Yes.
And in the end, if you keep doing something, you will still get to do it.
Yeah.
So if you like it that much, it turns out, keep doing it.
Yeah. And that's success. In my book, that's being able to do what you love to do and
live indoors,
survive and live indoors and have food. Yeah. Like that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think it can go the other way too. Like I had a bad experience. You got to pick and choose you got to find the right psychic, because there are a lot of hacks out there and, people can get in your head. Like I remember I went to see someone when I was probably 27 years old, and I was living in New York and I was acting, and like that was the dream. Like I wanted to be a famous actor. Right. And the psychic was like, well, you have 3 more years. And it wasn't like it was, it was like, well, because when you turn 30 as a woman,
right, they're going to throw you away. Yes. Yeah. Your vagina dries up and nobody wants to fuck
and that's it. You're to the dumpster you go. And it was such a gross, like,
we don't know each other well enough for me to have just said that. I apologize.
No,
Rangers are like, yeah, that's how Jackie talks. Anyway.
Yeah, your vagina dries up and then you're
a dead person to Hollywood.
You're a dead person to Hollywood, which is not entirely wrong, but it was like, it got in my head. Yeah. I think because I had put so much stock in what these like experts or mystics said that like, I remember when you know, it was like those years leading up to 30, it was just like this, like, oh my God, like I have to, and then it didn't happen. And it was like, oh, I guess I failed. And it's like, that's so fucked.
Right. And that the thing is, and I would say this is if anybody says anything like that to you, whether you've paid them $25 or not.
Right.
I once went to a hand reader lady at a fair in New York City where they were selling giant, it was in like Little Italy or something. And it was a street fair and there was a woman at a card table and it was $5. And you know what I got? I got $5 worth of, she didn't even look at my hand. She just looked at me and said, you need to lose weight.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
I was like, well, and I told my friend Jenny's mom that story because I went with my friend Jenny Bergman and Jenny's mom goes, that's $5 worth of of information, Jackie.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like the DNA, like 23andMe and Ancestor. You give them $100.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you get? You get $100 worth of DNA information.
You get $100 of information. Yeah.
That's all you get.
Yeah.
You get a real generalization. Turns out you're pretty white. Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it really is like, I remember being like in New York at one point, like my mom and I would always go as kind of like mother, daughter. It was like our fun activity. And we went to one of these, like, you know, one of those places that is like tarot psychic in New York. That is just like, you know, it's garbage. You know, that it's
there's a neon light. Yeah.
There's a neon light and there's a crystal ball. And we went in and of course the number they gave us at the beginning, when after the reading, they were like, it's triple that, you know. And I was like, no, this is bullshit. And my mom was like, no, it's great. It's fine. I gave them the whole, it was probably like $50 or something.
Right.
And we walk out. I was like, Mom, they just totally ripped us off. What was that about? And she was like, well, like just with a straight face was like, well, I didn't want to get cursed. Like she genuinely was like, if I don't give them this money, they're gonna curse me and my family. And you know, that's
yes. Was she Catholic by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So just curious.
That's it doesn't go away.
Yeah. No. That's still a lateral move is what your mom's done there. A bit of a So okay.
Yeah.
All right. Before we go on, I'm going to take a break and I'm going to make a note of this time code because there might be an ad here.
Ooh.
Was there one? Did you enjoy it? Good for you. Okay. So, so psychics, the real question is, what's the best experience? Were you ever kind of blown away where you're like, this person, or is it usually just like getting a massage where you're like, no, that was great. Or that was good?
Generally, I think it is like, it's walking away just like with a little more pep in your step. It's like going in and having someone be like, okay, these things you want, they're coming.
Okay.
And those happened at moments where I think I just really needed to hear that. And there was, I mean, honestly, I think the craziest thing was like the redhead boyfriend, like that, because it was such a specific thing.
Right.
But no, it's never been, you know, I think that like for a long time, it would be like going and being like, okay, there's a contract coming for you. There's this big success around the bend. And it kept sort of not happening. So I got like, at a certain point, I was like, well, this is actually,
they were too specific.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're like, because the thing is I'm more than willing to give somebody $20 for a pep talk.
Yeah.
Usually I get it from friends and family, but you know, sometimes you hit a wall and you're like, I need a pep talk.
It kind of is therapy. It's like unlicensed therapy. It's you know.
Maria Bamford is doing a joke about 12-step programs and how she took her husband to this 12-step program, and he just looked around the meeting and went, "These people need help." And Maria's like, yes, they do. And he goes, there's none available. And he goes, so this is it? Peer counseling? And and she goes, yes. And sometimes it works. It's very nice.
Yeah. So, that's so funny.
It's really funny. So Leah Rudnick, Leah Rudnick and it's at Leah, Leah _ Rudick, Rudick,
Yep.
on all the things. And then the podcast is The Rudicks Are Home. And yeah. Okay, so there's psychics, there's tarot card readers.
There's all kinds of things.
What are the other things? Like,
okay,
the
so
people that are like psychics.
There's psychics, there's tarot readers, I one time went to a past life regressionist.
Did you ever see Defending Your Life?
No.
Oh my God. Is
that about that?
Yeah, it's about reincarnation, and it's Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep, and it's hilarious.
Oh shit. Okay, I gotta watch
Defending Your Life. Such a good movie. Anyway, so you go to a past life.
So I went, one of my best friend's mom was doing past life regressions. And so she gifted me a session, and it was so fun. It was like, she used like a pendulum where like she would ask questions to the pendulum, and based on which way it turned, she would know yes or no. And she also got, like, I think, visions during the session. So the takeaway, she said that in a past life, I was a geisha. And she said that my boyfriend at the time was also one of my geisha friends.
Okay.
And I remember when I told him, he got really mad. He was like, really was like, well, I think it was so strange. He was like
he didn't want to be a girl or something.
He didn't want to be like my friend in a past life. Like he took, just toxic masculinity.
It's like, just slow your roll. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, relax. But it was all these other things that like explained relationships that I have in this life, which is that like my younger brother Andrew, who is the podcast partner, was like, the reason you're protective of him is because in a past life your current dad was like your stepmom who murdered him.
Here's the thing about past life regression people. I want them to write for wrestlers. Desperately want them to write for professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
And this doesn't mean it's not fun. I have always thought, you ever think that, did it feel like you were like, that sounds about right? Like I was, like you were honestly grinding it out.
I kind of was, because she was like, that's why you're protective of him. That's why you have this like this like relationship. She was like, and then she was like, your this particular friend was your stepmom, and that's why you're a little bit like afraid of like certain things in their person. You like hide. It was
yeah,
cool.
I've always thought that I was a child drummer boy in the Civil War. Not even gonna lie. It's it was, and granted, I thought that when I was like 12, and I totally got into the Civil War, and I started just reading all nonfiction and fiction about the Civil War, historical fiction, and I was like, I think that's what I used to be. And I mean, because I always think about how there's 8 billion people on the planet, and if reincarnation is real, there used to be 1 billion people on the planet, and then the rest of us were bugs. And because there was 8 billion of something, right?
Yeah.
Like if we all had to come up, we were a different kind of being.
Yeah.
And now there's 8 billion people, which the earth is like, oh, this reincarnation sounds like a really shitty idea.
Yeah, this is not.
Are they all going to become planets next time? They're going to die. They're going to be bigger and bigger animals and
we didn't
more
think
invasive.
This through logistically.
Right. I just made that up. That made me laugh. Okay, so.
But, maybe that's why they say there's like older souls and younger, it's like because the younger souls are used to be the bugs.
Yeah. And they have to, well, that's Defending Your Life. Albert Brooks, they talk about how many times you were on Earth to learn how to move on to the next level. Right.
Yeah.
And Rip Torn plays his lawyer. Amazing. And Meryl Streep. It was amazing, of course, in life. And Albert Brooks was a bit of a schlub. Yeah. And as casting. So casting. Right. And that's the thing too with psychics, is that they look at you and they're like, okay, I see like people look at your sausage casing and how you've been treated your whole life. And you can kind of tell.
You can tell.
Like what kind of pep talk you need. Or
it's the same thing as doing like crowd work. Like you look at an audience and you can
it is like doing crowd work. Yeah.
You can tell. You look at someone and you're like, oh, this is, the very skilled people like know exactly what you are.
My new thing is I like to guess who's doing some meditation in the front row. I like to pick a lady who looks like she has her shit together and go, do you meditate?
That's amazing.
And let me tell you something, much like my sense of direction, I'm always wrong. Always. She's like, I do not. And I was like, oh, you have a good vibe about you. You look like you kind of have your shit together.
That's amazing. Always wrong.
Always wrong. By the way, I also have no sense of direction, and you would think it would be 50-50 that I would pick a direction and I'd be 50% wrong.
Yeah.
Andy Ashcraft, my fella, insists that it's an 80-20. 80% of the time
wrong.
Incorrect. Yep.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm on San Fernando Boulevard here in the Los Angeles area, you can bet your ass that I'm lost.
Oh yeah.
Because whenever I look up, I look up at one time, many years ago, pre-GPS, I looked up and I was like, oh shit, I'm on San Fernando. And it used to just give me like small, it would give me a little anxiety, right? Yeah. I'd be like, oh shit, I'm lost. And I was like, calm down. Just accept that when you're on San Fernando, you're lost. And why don't you go to lunch? And I took myself to lunch and it really helped. It really calmed me down.
I love that.
Someone was telling me that a friend of hers called her and was like, I'm going to kill myself. And she said, have you eaten?
Oh my God.
And the woman goes, what? And she said, have you eaten? And she goes, no. She said, eat a sandwich. Call me right back. And she ate a sandwich, called her right back. She was like, yeah, I think my blood sugar was low. I am slightly depressed.
My God. That is amazing. That's amazing.
Right. Maybe she's psychic, my friend.
Maybe she's psychic.
Who helped her other friend.
Maybe we all just need a sandwich.
Sometimes we need a sandwich, quite honestly. Here was the thing. When I asked you what your dorkdoms were, the first thing you said, it wasn't enough.
It was too vague. I know. I realized that.
But I wouldn't mind talking about it because I was never into martinis. It's the drink, the alcoholic beverage that comes in a pointy glass martini, or sometimes a curved glass.
Yeah.
What, how did it happen?
I love a martini.
Sex in the City kind of thing?
Is that what? City.
Yeah.
No, I think it happened. It started when I was living in New York. I think I just liked the way it made me feel classy. It made me feel fancy. It
comes in a fancy glass.
And I just really started enjoying the flavor of it. Like I like it. I have a very specific recipe that I like. It's a slightly dirty vodka martini, which I think that some professional mixologists would balk out because an actual traditional martini is gin, vermouth, and lemon.
Okay. And so what are you compromising the gin the
gin by doing vodka? And also that some people look down on on the olive, because the olive brine is what Okay. Some people judge everything everyone does.
And what makes it dirty is some sort of olive juice.
It's the olive brine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
green olive, black olive, doesn't matter.
Green olive brine. We also we've sort of perfected this recipe, which is that it's 2.5 ounces of vodka. I like Tito's or Belvedere if I'm feeling fancy.
Okay.
0.75 ounces of something called Dirty Sue, which is olive brine that is just sold as olive brine.
Okay.
It doesn't come with olives. It's literally just a bottle of olive juice.
Right. That is made for martinis, for the creation of a dirty martini. Got it.
Exactly. And
how much vermouth?
And just the slightest splash. Honestly, it's just put it like a rinse where you just pour a tiny bit in the glass before and then dump it out. So you just have
what is
the
vermouth?
Slightest. It's a like a
Is it a booze as well?
Yeah, it's a booze. It's a very like, it's not an Amaro. It's I should know this. My husband makes Amaro, which is like an after dinner digestif bitter. It's a fortified wine is what vermouth is. So it's like
okay.
extremely specific flavor. You Googled. Yeah.
I did Google, and then I tapped the wrong screen to make it show up, and it didn't show up. Vermouth is an aromatized fortified wine flavored with various botanicals and sometimes colored. Wow. Somebody bought a thesaurus and threw it at this word. The modern versions of the beverage were first produced in the mid to late 18th century in Turin, Italy. There you go. So it has some alcohol content, but you're just using sort of you're just sort of
just for the flavor, just like a touch for the flavor. It's an extremely strong drink. I mean, it's essentially just vodka with olive. Like it's
so you couldn't drink it. I mean, you could if you also wanted to drink,
vermouth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. People do something called an upside down martini, which is sort of it's like a martini where the measurements are it's like you use the amount of vermouth that you would usually use for the vodka or gin.
Wow.
Vermouth is I think vermouth is gross. Like I would never drink it on its own, but it's nice. It adds like a little bit of like an aroma and a roundness, I think, to the drink that makes it nice.
And then do you put anything in it, like an olive or
an olive? Yeah. Okay. An olive or 3 olives. If you do 2 olives, it's apparently bad luck. So says my psychic.
And are you putting it in a pointy glass, one of the triangle glasses, or are you doing a rounded
one? The way we do at home, we do it with coupe, the rounded coupe.
Okay.
But I'm happy with a pointed glass. And
so
yeah. Yeah, I feel like we've perfected the recipe at home. So going out, it's kind of a crapshoot. Not bartenders. A lot of people don't know how to make martinis well.
How would you order 2.5 ounce? You would have to order 2.5 shots, right?
You just say, like, the way I order it is I say I'd like a slightly dirty vodka martini, or I say what kind of vodka. Like I say a slightly dirty Tito's martini. And if it's like a good bartender, they know how to make it. Oftentimes they'll put like too much. When you say slightly dirty, they'll kind of mix it up and put too much vermouth in it. But if you go to a good bar, like Jones in Hollywood is in Los Angeles is our favorite place. Is actually where Dirty Sue originated. There was like a head bartender there who created that company. They make the perfect martini.
Out in the world, out in the wild.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is it seems like sort of when I met Andy, my husband, good Lord, there's something about that. And we've been married almost 20 years. So, but it's such a weird thing to say, my husband, just because it feels 1950s, very odd.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he's a good egg. I'm married to this fella and he's a delight. But, he was into wine when we first got together, and I do not drink because of a plethora of DUIs. So so he stopped drinking. He was like, and red wine gives him a headache, so he drinks like a white wine. And so it's always, I like that, but I love the idea of that Bewitched kind of where there's a rolling one of those things that rolls that has all the bottles on it, like a rolling bar.
A bar cart. Yeah.
A bar cart. That's it. That the Bewitched lady had in the sitcom. Do you have such a thing in your home?
We do. And my husband,
your fella,
my fella, David, who he's worked in bars for years and years. He comes from a bartender background, and like I said, now he's about to launch his own spirit company. So
you did not tell me that. Is
he makes Amaro, which is it's a bitter liqueur. No, I said it in passing. But so we have a very very strong bar at home.
Right. That is just because he knows how to stock a bar.
He knows how to stock a bar, and he knows how to make.
If I were to come in and I were to want my signature drink, the Diet Coke cranberry, you could probably make that. It's half Diet Coke, half cranberry juice.
We could set you up.
It's a cherry Coke essentially, but it's a cranberry Diet Coke is what it is.
That sounds delicious. Actually,
it is delicious. Because I don't drink and I'm in bars all the time, I had to come up with something that was more fun than 1,000 Diet Cokes or 1,000 seltzers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Does it taste like cherry Coke?
No, it tastes like cranberry Coke. It's nice. Yeah, it's delicious. I recommend you try it. Maybe tonight as a palate cleanser.
Tonight. Yes.
I do this club my home club in Minneapolis. He'll make all the juices in a carafe, but they sell it in all the juices and then a booze thing that goes through it.
It's a mix of all the juices, like a suicide. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, like a suicide. And that's delicious.
So you mix that with Diet Coke?
No, I don't. That's just another drink that I will also have.
Oh, okay.
Because pineapple juice and Diet Coke actually sounds disgusting.
That does sound disgusting.
Now I kind of want to try it, but I'm not saying, I don't know. I'm trying to drink less Diet Coke because, of course, it causes cancer. Who knows what it causes? It might have. Yeah. That is not true. I don't know that.
Everything does.
It turns out being alive causes dying.
Being alive, yeah. Being alive will kill you.
That'll right there at the end.
But there's this drink has kind of become popular recently, which is a big drink in Spain, Diet Coke and red wine, which also sounds disgusting, but is actually quite tasty.
You've tried that? A little DC red wine?
Yeah, it's good.
Huh. It sounds like children really, you know how like they sell the vaping? You're just like, it's a pomegranate mist, but it's also nicotine. Would you like to try it?
Yeah.
If you don't like red wine, how about if I put a Diet Coke on top of that?
Exactly.
And,
that's
that going on.
That is like I think that's in the zeitgeist. And I know because David, he bartends so much, and in the past couple years, this drink has become popular called the Dirty Shirley, which is essentially a Shirley Temple, but with vodka. I think it's vodka with booze, but it's just like sugar. It's like a Shirley Temple is just like sugar, you know?
Right, because it has the grenadine.
Yeah, it's just grenadine and Sprite. So it's just grenadine and Sprite and whatever the spirit is, but
and then some giant bottle of booze on top of it. Well,
exactly.
I used to drink what was called a dead Nazi, and it was a shot of Rumpelmintz and a shot of Jägermeister together.
Oh my god.
And you literally had 7 to 9 minutes to talk to me, and then I was in a happy place. Because I think that's about 90% alcohol once it's down your gullet. It's not great.
That's intense. Yeah,
it might be an indicator that shouldn't be working heavy machinery, Jackie.
Time to swap over to Diet Coke. Yeah.
Diet Coke. But here's the other beverage that you said that you really liked was the perfect coffee.
Yes.
We have about 10 minutes left. I think I could talk about coffee for 10 minutes.
Are you a coffee drinker?
I am a coffee drinker.
Yeah.
Though I've been trying to slow my roll on that as well. But
yeah. All of these things you get addicted to them.
Right. They take away from the water. They suck all the hydration out of my body.
But they're so fun. I have a coffee here. So I love we do a French press at home, and we do that. I do it with a splash of almond milk. It's not really anything it's not particularly interesting, actually. It's just this like
I was given a piece of paper that said perfect coffee.
Yes, I know it.
And I'm
saying it out loud.
Turns out, let me say that Leah Rudick is a simple woman of the people. And that perfect coffee is a French press with a splash of almond milk, you guys. That's all. Just live it up, she's saying. Get yourself a nice cup of coffee.
Get yourself a French press, a little bit of Califia almond milk, and you're good.
You're good.
I think that in LA, I'm constantly chasing the perfect cup of coffee because I spend so much time and in traveling too, where you're just like, okay, I'm in this new city. where's the coffee shop that is going to be able to give me the coffee that I want?
Right. It's true. So my favorite coffee, and I went to Vietnam with Andy, and we went on what I like to call an idiot tour, because we've never been to Vietnam and I don't speak Vietnamese. So we did 9 days in Vietnam and 9 days in Cambodia, and they had local tour guides help you out. And the guy that took us up down from Hanoi down to Saigon was a guy named Qua, and he was amazing. He's super, he was sociopolitical. He was silly. He, 3 days into it, me and a couple of the New Zealand guests were like, hey, could we get a banh mi? And he said, you want a 75-cent street sandwich? I've been taking you to people's houses for beautiful $6 4-course meals. And we're like, no, keep doing that. We would also like a banh mi. And because they have banh mi here. And I was like, I wonder if it's the same. It turns out it's the same, you guys. It's just the same. Yeah, but 75 cents in Vietnam. Anyway, we went to Hoi An, I think it was, and they had a local coffee. And I bought some coffee, one to give a friend of mine, a pound and a pound for myself. And it came with the tiny Vietnamese coffee makers. And
that's with like, is it with condensed milk?
Sweetened condensed milk is what it is when you do out. When I make it at home, I just use whole milk, regular just cows. But we do drink whole milk because I don't enjoy the idea of palm oil. Did you know that in 2% and fat-free milk, it's thickened with palm oil?
I didn't know that. That's disgusting.
Well, it's gross. And it's fine when you drink it and you don't know that. You're like, it's fine. But if you do know it, it will affect your enjoyment of said milk. And now I've screwed with all of you peoples who are out there trying to enjoy a 2%. Anyway, but here's the scoop. It has a chocolate note to it, this Vietnamese coffee that I got in Hoi An, that I didn't know if it was actually, because I'm not a big fan of flavored coffee, but it was so subtle. And I asked Qua about it. And he was like, no, that's just the beans. Since then, I have looked at the ingredients, translated them. There's chocolate in it.
Really?
Anyway, yeah, Qua's full of shit. But here's the thing: is so we come home and I run out of that coffee, and Andy is friends with Qua on Facebook, and I was like, "Do you think Qua would send me 10 pounds of that coffee?" He goes to Hoi An once a month, and so Qua sends me 10 pounds of that coffee once a year.
Oh my God!
And
that's amazing.
Right. He doesn't gouge me too bad. And I always send him an extra money because, if a $6 fancy meal is a fancy meal,
get yourself a few banh mi's.
Yeah. Live it up, brother. Yeah. And so we all win. And so my favorite coffee, because I don't always make Vietnamese coffee because it takes a second, but I have a Mr. Coffee. And so what I do is I take a can of coffee. It's a yellow can. I can't remember the name of it. I put 2 scoops of that and 1 scoop of the good stuff. And then I make a whole pot of that coffee. And then I drink all of that coffee, which is why I'm trying to drink less coffee. Guess who doesn't need to drink a pot of coffee a day? This one right here.
Same.
No need.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so good though.
It's delicious. The next time you come to Los Angeles, please come to my home. I will have for you. I also have, I don't know if you can see. Can you see out in the yard? Probably not.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how lovely.
It's Swiss chard and collard greens. And
oh my God.
They've gone mad. They've quite honestly gone mad. And
wow.
There's my garage, you guys. And now we spin
Look
around.
Look at that.
I'm stacked on top of board games. WizKids, you guys, get out there. WizKids has a Scooby-Doo version of HeroClix. That's a tiny ad for WizKids for no reason.
Sponsored?
Kind of. They do send me stuff, and I'm like, I want to do a great unboxing, but I have too many HeroClix right now to play any more HeroClix. So, like, I have all the Wonder Woman. They sent me all the Wonder Woman HeroClix, and they're awesome.
I don't know what you mean by any of that.
Well, HeroClix is, you know how Dungeons and Dragons, somebody draws a map on top of a bunch of squares or a bunch of hexagrams. HeroClix, sort of. I love it is sort of very supportive. Thank you very much for that. But HeroClix is a character-based thing where you bounce around, and on the base of the characters, they have all of its stats, so you can just spin the base, so it tells you how many hit points it has. It tells you how hard it is to kill that character.
Okay,
and
got it.
They do it for all of DC, all of Marvel, all of almost everything. Like whatever IP there is, there's HeroClix for it. And now there are Scooby-Doo HeroClix, and they're kind of super fun because they're kind of idiot proof, where you don't have to make a character sheet. You can just play with the character. You're like, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. I punch you in the nose. And someone says, I punch you back. And you go, I spin my thing, and my guy falls over. And so easy peasy.
Got it. Thank you.
Small introduction to HeroClix. Someone I've done a couple of episodes of HeroClix on the show. That guy right now yelling at his iPhone going, not really, but okay. And so I recommend get out there, play some HeroClix.
I'm getting out there.
We're real close to the end here. And what is left?
Oh my goodness.
Travel.
Oh, okay.
Is it just points and stuff?
I just love one of my favorite ways to procrastinate is searching for the best like flight and hotel deals out there. Like I will go down such a rabbit hole.
Really?
It's so fun for me. Like I feel like in another life.
Is it like pretend travel? Like you're not going there. You're just like, well, how much would it cost?
Sometimes it's that, and sometimes it's like actual travel that I like. It's such a simple where it's just like I literally am like, there's a flight that I should get and then get back to my work, you know, and there's a hotel that is the obvious choice and I should just book it and get back to work. But I will spend like hours just like going to every site, comparing, like making docs where I'm just comparing like what is the time to cost ratio. And it's just very fun for me. Like, I feel like I would be such a good travel agent. Like, I mean, not that is even a profession anymore.
It is, but not at this level. Like literally it's just for like famous people have like people with a lot, because it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Kind of, because to some extent, like when I opened for Brian Regan, he has someone who books all the hotels and all the flights. When I opened for Maria Bamford, she has someone who books the flights and hotels. And they are not travel agents, but they are also PR people.
Yeah.
And they also do other things. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And my sister loves to do what you do, which is what you love to do, which is to look for the best deal.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Yeah. But you don't
use Priceline?
Sometimes I use them all. Right.
Do you use them all?
Priceline, Skyscanner, Skipleg's a lot of fun. Do you know Skiplagged? They actually got sued by I think United, because they do a thing where, like, you know how you'll go somewhere and there will be a layover. Oftentimes you can sort of hack it where the final destination is actually part of a layover and it's cheaper to do it. Yeah. So like if I was flying from like Cincinnati to LAX, but it's like, you know, $400 or something, but there's another flight that is the same flight path that goes Cincinnati to LAX to Vegas. That's like $200. So you can book that and you just can't you have to do like carry-on luggage, and it's technically against the rules. But if you're feeling, you know, a little dangerous,
or you're poor, or you would like to save $200.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm just going to get on the plane, and then I'm going to get off the plane like it's a bus.
Yeah.
Because you are running a service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like if there's like if there's an issue where it's rerouted, or if for some reason you're checked your carry-on luggage, they have to check, then you're kind of fucked. So it is a gamble. It is like, it is dangerous, but I've done it a few times.
I have to say that, I have taken to, because when you said $400, I was like, that's adorable. It hasn't been $400 in months to fly anywhere. It's it's gone up to $750. It's ridiculous.
It's so psychotic right now.
Right. So what I've taken to, like, I like to fly Delta, and that's my favorite. But I also like to fly Southwest, even though they dropped the ball a couple of months ago. But that was unforeseen. and they have tried to fix it, and whatever happens. But I've taken the last 2 flights of Southwest I've booked one ways.
That's what I always do.
This week I'm flying to Indianapolis. One way, bought the ticket, and then when I fly back from Indianapolis, I used points.
Yeah.
And so it ended up costing me, $350. So that felt reasonable.
I think it's so much smarter to book one ways, even because often you have to find different airlines to do it, because that's the cheaper way. And also if you have to change your flight on one leg, but you've booked it all together, it totally fucks the whole thing.
Right. Multi-city on Delta can get super complicated. You're like, it's hardly worth the effort. Why don't I just book a bunch of one ways?
Book it one way, and it's fun.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna leave it at that. Leah Rudick. Ladies and gentlemen, Rangers of the Dork Forest, we've been talking with Leah Rudick. It's been a delight. I've had this has been great.
So fun.
So fun. Everybody, she has a new podcast out. It's called The Rudicks Are Home. She does it with her brothers, Andrew. And Rudick is spelled Rudick. Leah is spelled Leah. There's an underscore on all the handles. And she does stand up. She's got the podcast. Find her, follow her, throw some money at her. Do something. Be supportive. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Thank you so much. This was truly a delight. I had such a blast.
Hey, and Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?